before the year would have taken 9-8. But now at 6-3, and if you go 3-5 the rest of the way, would 9-8 be successful in your mind?
Probably, depending on what the losses looked like. I don't expect us, again, with this defense, we can split. So the 3 wins I have are at Minnesota, one of the Green Bay games, and Cleveland. Those are the 3 wins I have to get us to 9. If we could beat Pittsburgh at home, that gives you 10. That changes everything.
That's right.
10-7 puts you right there for a wild card spot, particularly. Here's the deal. The Packers are frauds.
How do you feel about them? Are you trying to juggle what you're seeing and how they make you feel emotionally during a large part of the game? Or are you judging them because Caleb's arrow's pointing up and the Bears are winning football games?
All the above. There's room enough for everything. I'm definitely a believer in I refer all the time to you guys about coaches I covered and various things they believed and said. And one of the things that Joe Gibbs believed and said, and I also believe John Thompson believed and said, we're talking Hall of Famers, is that they would say, first you win, then you get good. And I'm sure they're not the only 2 coaches, but I was around them every day. First you win, then you get good. And I'm hoping that's the case with the Bears. First you win the games, then maybe you can figure out how to stop somebody, because you can't be good until you can stop somebody at some point. And they can't. And so they're not going to be Detroit playing like that, where they just can't stop you. They couldn't stop. I mean, if Jackson Dart comes back in that game, we're not going to win that game Sunday. They could stop, and they got some timely defensive plays, kudos, to stop Russell Wilson. They're not stopping Jackson Dart. They haven't stopped him. So you got to take it all into account. Yes, the arrow's pointed up for Caleb. I didn't like the game Ben Johnson called on Sunday, but okay. I mean, he doesn't have to be perfect either.
We didn't either, Michael. We thought they should have run the ball more. They never truly got back to running it.
They didn't, and even though they ran it for nice numbers, 171 yards.
Right, a lot was Caleb, too, yeah.
Yes, a lot, and it's okay to have a lot of it. Call some designs. Hey, how about down there on the goal line? We have the worst 2-point plays anybody's ever seen. So use them down there. How about some old-fashioned screen passes? Make people's pass rush obsession work against them. And by the way, the Giants had some nice-looking old-fashioned screens. But we don't do that. We'd rather throw that quick screen out there that, to me, is more risky than anything else and doesn't work 75% of the time. But, again, that's sort of nitpicky. I'm like, okay, so the running game was able to get infinitely better during the bye week. We don't have another bye week. How are they going to practice and scheme and convince players that, and maybe get Booker more involved? And if Booker's involved, then Sweat should be better on the other side. Like what are they going to be able to do to get that defense better without a bye week in the next 6-7 weeks?
That's a good question. It's they're tapping into Dennis Allen's experience and his creativity to get to the quarterback. I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson has 3 sacks. He's been great. I don't think he's been touched on any of them because they've schemed up the pressure.
They have schemed it up. So you're going to have to do the same thing with Booker, who comes in with people not having a lot of film on him. I know he played a lot of snaps last year, but they don't. And he was among the best edge rushers in preseason in the whole league. So Dennis Allen's got some more work on his hands, and they expect him to do on that side of the ball what Ben Johnson and the running backs did on that element of the game during the bye week. So they're going to have to do something because they can't go into games with Green Bay and at San Francisco and Detroit like that. So but we also have no more homecoming opponents Cleveland. We have no more homecoming opponents. So, Don and I start playing this, how many games should we win the rest of the way?
Us too.
And I just don't know that you can count on, we're not going to be favored for any more games except Cleveland. None.
What about next week?
Yeah, I think they may be favored against the Steelers.
No, Minnesota's favored.
No, the Steelers.
Steelers.
No, the Steelers will be favored.
I don't know, Mike. It depends what they do.
It may be a push. it may be a push. It depends on what happens. If we beat the Vikings this Sunday in Minnie, then maybe we'll be a favorite at home against Pittsburgh. And it depends. What does Pittsburgh have this week?
The Bengals.
They got it easy. Oh, the Bengals, yeah. It depends. We're going to be favored in no more than 2 other games. Cleveland and maybe Pittsburgh. Not the Packer games, not Detroit, not at San Francisco. So I'm pretty worried about the way the rest of it looks. But I didn't think we'd get off to a 6-3 start. As you know, I didn't think that. And God bless. I mean, I'm glad we're in that space. I'm glad that the spirit seems to be up. There's plenty of room for improvement. I like what Caleb's doing in the fourth quarter, and he's not daunted by what confronts him in the fourth quarter. But I just like to see some more of that early in the game, and I'd like to see that commitment to the running game that happened immediately after the bye for those next 3 weeks. I want to see some more of that against Minnesota Sunday.
This is what we were debating, kind of like what you and Don were doing about the record and stuff. We asked people yesterday in a poll question.
Right.
You're 6-3 now. If you finished 9-8, that would be 3-5 the rest of the way. But many of us before the year would have taken 9-8. But now at 6-3, and if you go 3-5 the rest of the way, would 9-8 be successful in your mind?
Probably, depending on what the losses looked like. I don't expect us, again, with this defense, we can split. So the 3 wins I have are at Minnesota, one of the Green Bay games, and Cleveland. Those are the 3 wins I have to get us to 9. If we could beat Pittsburgh at home, that gives you 10. That changes everything.
That's right.
The 10-7 puts you right there for a wild card spot, particularly. Here's the deal. The Packers are frauds. And so if I haven't looked at the Packers' schedule the rest of the way. They got the Giants this week, and Dart may not be able to play because of concussion. I don't know what the Packers have left. We're a half game.
I can read it for you real quick. After the Giants, they get the Vikings. They're at the Lions. They get the Bears at home. They're at the Broncos. They're at the Bears. They're at home against the Ravens. Then they're at the Vikings. So they've got some work to do.
Yes.
They got some work to do, too. They do. So 10 would help us there. We've already beaten the Commanders, who aren't a factor anymore, so we don't care about that tiebreaker.
I think you got to look at the Lions for sure.
You got to look at but the Lions are very likely. The Lions are going to win the division now, so I'm not even dealing with that. I'm dealing with wild card possibilities. And we beat the Giants, we beat the Commanders. I mean, we beat some teams that would have to come up against us in a tiebreaker situation for the wild card.
Can I tell you on this? If the Bears beat the Vikings, and I'm not high on the Vikings right now, and I know they need to.
I think we can win this.
I totally do as well. And again, our team is going to have to fight and scratch and claw for everything because of their defense. But the Vikings, I could poke holes in a lot of their stuff.
Same here.
If our team beats the Vikings, you know where the Lions are this week. They're at the Eagles.
Lions are at Philly. I know.
So we could win, they could lose, and guess who could be at the top of the division 10 games in? 7-3.
Then somebody revive me. And that,
party at Don's house.
I mean, that scenario is like a 60% scenario.
Yeah.
I think we can beat the Vikings.
I do too.
And by the way, there ought to be. I don't know if Ben is this kind of coach, or if the position coaches are. Be out for some blood. Be out for some revenge. Have a chip. Go in there and say to yourself, we gave away a game to you punks. We're taking this back. Go in there with that. I don't mean saying it. I mean feeling it, believing it.
Oh, he's a red ass. He's definitely giving him that message.
Okay, then that's one of the reasons why I believe that we can get this game. And I do believe that the Philly, Detroit. Is that the Sunday night game?
Yes. Yes.
Ooh. Man, we could go into Sunday night.
Yeah, you could be sitting back having a cold drink.
Kinds of Kool-Aid.
Yeah, Bears 7-3.
Maybe something stronger than Kool-Aid. But, and then we go into the next week with the Pittsburgh thing. And how do we, how do we handle expectations if there are any? I don't know that we're that good. I don't know that we'd be any good at that. Having had none since opening week, the opening 2 weeks, losing two division games, one of them badly. I don't know if we respond well to expectations.
Well, the interesting part of all of this to me is you could win all these games. You could also lose all of them. They have found ways to win, even in less than perfect performances, which has buoyed our optimism for them.
But it's the reverse of last year.
Yes,
and it's the Washington game was pivotal, obviously, in both situations. The Raiders came first. We got the Raider game on the last play, or what amounts to the last play, and then the Commander game on the last play. I mean, yes, we've found ways to win these, but again, if you – so, Tommy, where do you fall on that old adage by some coaches, not all, but like I said, Joe Gibbs was one of them. You win first, and then you get good.
Yeah, I mean, Silvy and I had this conversation at the start of the year, and it was kind of a simple question. How do you learn how to win? And my simple answer to him was you win. I mean, and then it becomes expected behavior. It becomes contagious. And I think I think Rome was on did an interview, and there was this, and I'm going to get this wrong. He talked about how Ben is preaching. Now they're at the point where they know they can do this. You had to believe earlier, then you learn, and now you know.
Yes.
So I think that, they're far enough along with this kind of new culture in their building that I don't think they go to Minnesota thinking anything other than we're here to do a job, and we got a great chance to win this game, and we expect to win it. Yeah.
I would hope that is the way they walk in there. And it's not like, I mean, what are the Vikings, 4-5?
4-5.
And two of those games were just like gifts that two of the wins that the Vikings, have in their ledger of 4. So I think this is a critical game. It's a division game, and you don't want to go 0-3 in your division.
Oh, no.
With having lost 2 to the worst of the 3 teams. You still got to go to Lambeau. You still got Detroit coming in. So this is a pivotal game.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, not just for the record, but for, if they're going to continue this sort of march into a place where they believe they can win, and more importantly, they prove they can win, then this is that. That's what made me so mad about the Bulls last night. So they held on. They beat Philadelphia. Okay, they're not ready for Cleveland yet. Okay, I get that, even though they gave up a 12-0 run to lose that game. The Bulls they're doing just the opposite thing. They're proving to themselves, okay, we can play with these teams that are the best teams in the league. We can do it. And then they can't cash in. So they're doing just the opposite of the Bears, and that's why I was so enraged last night.
You were mad. That was.
And then they got games. I looked at their schedule, and I was like, you know what? So the Bulls were 6-1. At best, they're going to be 9-8, and that's where they're headed because they got tough. And by the way, what looks really good is last night they were without their 2 best players. They don't have Giddey, and they don't have Kobe, and they had a 13-point lead
right. They
on
still
the
had
Spurs.
a chance. Yes. That's why I wasn't as angry as you. I mean, sure, I wanted them to win, but I wasn't angry because of the way they still competed against a really good team without their 2 best guys.
Not the last 2 minutes. They just rolled over. They rolled over for Wemby in the last 2 minutes and said, scratch our bellies. I didn't like that.
Scratch our bellies.
Maybe Caleb should suit up and play in place of Giddey.
He needs to. So they needed some toughness last night they didn't have. And as you guys know, toughness is not something you can necessarily acquire unless you acquire it through a person who comes in, who's willing to fight the opponent and maybe start a fight in practice too. And so I looked at them last night and just said, ugh. Kobe's a skilled guy, but he ain't that guy. Like, can we go get 1983 Charles Oakley and borrow him for a while? Because that That is what that team seems to need right now.
I'm sure 2025 Charles Oakley would go out there and throw down.
He'll still smack you in the face.
Thrown out of the garden. That's right. We'll take 2025 over.
That open hand smack. That's sign of disrespect. Great stuff, Michael. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
Mike.
you guys. Be good.
There you go. He was angry last night.